as all the Avengers Doomsday trailers have been released, I think this is the perfect time to finally show my ranking for all of them. But also I want to talk about the MCU and the current direction that it's going in. The first one we got was Steve Rogers trailer, and personally I believe this trailer is the most boring one out of all of them. Maybe it's competing with Thor when it comes to how boring it is. And I think the most enjoyable aspects of what you could get from this teaser is that Chris Evans might be coming back as Captain America. We're not really given anything to be looking forward to in the story, and that's where another one of my problems comes in with this teaser specifically. We've already seen Steve Rogers give up his shield to Sam Wilson, so I think anybody that was really invested in this story would have not been really looking forward to Steve coming back, because the story has told us his story was over. But I think with the recent release of the Captain America movie without Steve Rogers and his performance, that is a huge factor to why they're bringing back Steve as whoever they're bringing him back as. Now my issue comes in with the fact that we haven't been given enough time to really get to know Sam Wilson's Captain America. We've gotten him in a TV show and a movie, and both of those things were pretty mid, and every other character got more shine than Sam Wilson himself. We don't really even get to know what type of mindset Sam Wilson is on as Captain America. We knew what Steve was on. We knew exactly how he would act in each situation, but we don't really get that feeling with Sam Wilson. And I'm not going to blame this on anybody except for the people running the show at Marvel. I just don't believe they've put in enough effort, or even at least half the effort they put into what they did to build Steve Rogers' character into Sam Wilson, and just to slap on the title of Captain America on him. If you're not willing to put in that much effort, it's just like putting him there just to be the beta Captain America. He's just going to be Captain America 2. That, in addition to the fact that this is the first thing we're getting from the Avengers Doomsday trailers, it just shows you they don't have any confidence in Sam Wilson. In fact, he doesn't show up in any of these trailers. Months ago, he was rumored to be a main line in this story, but we don't get any news about Sam Wilson. The last time we heard about this guy was in the Thunderbolts movie as an offhand in the post-credit scene. Come on. But all in all, I just think the Steve Rogers trailer is boring and disrespectful to both Steve Rogers and Sam Wilson, but we'll see how they play it out in the movie. Maybe it'll be peak in the movie. I have my hopes up.
Please, Father, heed my words.
We then get Thor's trailer. Now, I don't have much to say about Thor's trailer except for the fact that it's also boring. I don't think the MCU so far has done much with Thor post Endgame. You know, we haven't gotten enough from Thor for us to be hyped about what he's going to do in Endgame, except for just be strong. But his trailer itself doesn't really give us any hype moments. It gives us him talking about how he's going to protect his daughter, a daughter, may I add, that was introduced in the Thor Love and Thunder movie, a movie that a lot of people did not enjoy and a lot of people probably didn't watch. Now, am I going to blame the teaser trailer for other people not watching the movie? No. But you have to wonder why Thor is being brought into this, especially him talking about his daughter. A running theme in all these trailers is the fact that a lot of these have to do with family. So I think him being in this was more to keep that theme of family. Now this is where we're into the real shit. We finally get to see the X-Men in the MCU, or Marvel's take on the X-Men finally. I love this trailer. It's very hype. We get to see Cyclops, my favorite X-Man. We get to see Magneto and Charles, the love story of the century. But most of all, we finally get to see comic accurate Sentinels. The Sentinels in Days of the Future parts were sick, don't get me wrong, but I think I really like the Sentinel designs that we get in the comics because they're so 80s and they just kept that design going. But however, this also seems to be like we've seen another story of the decimation of the X-Men, or the X-Men on their last stand, or the X-Men where everything is gone, or the X-Men where they all die again. Seems like this is the only X-Men story that anybody is really interested in telling. Like anytime travel story, X-Men Holocaust. Any person from the future, I'm trying to stop an X-Men Holocaust or a mutant Holocaust. It's still good though, and I think it still has the same theme of family, of how maybe this is the loss of the X-Men as a family. Professor X, who is here to die again, which is something I found funny about this trailer, because the last time we heard from two of these characters, both of them were dead, unless they aren't the characters we've seen in the Fox movies, and instead they're the characters from the alternate dimension that Monica Rambeau is trapped in. But then again, that's another problem I have, because yet again we're seeing the MCU or Marvel advertise this movie not with any story driven elements, but instead with actors. We're not really getting anything from the story. We're getting actors and characters, or hype characters that we want to see, or people have been asking for since Endgame. And I think that's an issue that we should point out in the MCU. Did they build up enough goodwill to make this Avengers movie? We're getting get into this Avengers movie, and one of the Avengers, or so one of the teams that have the Avengers namesake, was just given a movie last year. I'm again an Avengers movie for this year. Not seen any of those characters, not seen any character that has been shown post Endgame as a new character for this new era of the MCU. We're only getting nostalgia characters that we've seen prior to this, characters that we don't even need to watch the MCU to really fully understand with the X-Men, when we could have actually gotten a new fresh take on the X-Men, something that is brand new. Because even Fox rebooted the X-Men and still kept bringing the same actors back. Now, we should have expected this after the news of Deadpool and Wolverine also being in Avengers Doomsday, but I'm also kind of disappointed that we didn't get to see a whole new cast of the X-Men. We are probably going to see that in Avengers Secret Wars, hopefully, but it's kind of funny because when these guys got announced, we saw a lot of people fan casting X-Men characters. Maybe they were going to be in Spider-Man Brand New Day, but instead we're just getting the same old Fox characters, which I'm still happy to be getting, but I just wish we got more developed characters in this story. The Cyclops blast at the end is still peak. Cyclops, I love Cyclops. Give me the Messiah complex Cyclops and I would be happy. I will keep my mouth closed. I don't care about the story. Give me Messiah complex Cyclops leading with his life on the line.
King M'Baku of Wakanda.
Ben, Yancey Street between Broome and Grand.
The last trailer we got was my favorite. I think the X-Men is the best, but my personal favorite is the Wakanda and Fantastic Four trailer. I'm happy to see the Fantastic Four finally interacting with Wakanda. I am sad to see that it's not the recast Black Panther that we're seeing. Hopefully Black Panther gets recast in this movie, because I need to see the dap up between Reed Richards and Black Panther. I need to see the smart guys going crazy in this movie. I need to see them working together to create a plan or a new machine to stop Doomsday. Outside of that, I think in the context of the current MCU, this makes a lot of sense, because where else are the Fantastic Four going to land? No one else would really fully be able to understand what's going on with Fantastic Four except for the most technologically advanced place in the world. I think the Fantastic Four have always had a connection with the Wakanda people. I am also happy to see we're seeing Namor in this, and the Fantastic Four. Maybe we'll get something, we will see. There's also been a lot of lore stuff we've missed out from the surrounding area in this trailer. All in all, it's not the most special trailer. The X-Men trailer was the best. I think maybe now that I've talked about both of them, I'm more tied than having one above the other. I've seen some theories of people saying that some stuff was edited out of the Fantastic Four and Wakanda trailer. We just have to find out. I've heard someone say maybe Doom was in there and he got edited out. We would have to find out as well. But continuing the family theory, we do see that in this with the Fantastic Four, but not exactly in the same way it was represented in the other trailers, because we already see Doom going for Franklin Richards by the end of the Fantastic Four movie. So maybe that connects to this, and it gives more credence to the family theory of him looking for the kids, because he's apparently looking for strong kids. I don't know how Steve Rogers' kids would be considered strong unless he passes down his super soldier serum thing to them. All in all, I would say 2 of these trailers were good and 2 of these were mid to bad. But something that really riled me up is the fact that the Russo brothers had the gall to make that post on Instagram saying these aren't teasers, these aren't trailers, these are clues. I think these people need to get dragged out to the streets and stoned in a video game. I'm making a joke because you can't say these aren't teasers or trailers when you started this off with a character that was already dead in your story. You're only bringing him back because you want more people to be hyped for this movie. If not, you'd have had like fucking Miss Marvel start this off because she's the leader of the Young Avengers. And I know I'm giving the build up to this movie a lot of hard time, but it's because if the MCU story we had up until this point could hold water, it wouldn't be so hard to pivot away from Kang or even recast Kang. But up until then, it was so weak and shaky that we could just throw in Doctor Doom and make a whole new movie that's a direct sequel to Endgame. Little to no connection to the current MCU. I think it's a little bit ridiculous, and to try to brag like this is the most planned out thing ever pisses me off. Now, do I think this movie is going to be good? Probably. I think the lowest this movie could be is a 7 out of 10. if anything, I think it's going to be like a 9 out of 10, 8 out of 10. I already see the runtime is 3 hours and 45 minutes. I low-key think it should go on for a little bit longer with the amount of characters we might see in this. But I think a lot of these characters might get some quick cuts, and then we get to the main guys. Hurry it along to Avengers Secret Wars, and then the reboots with them cutting out all the characters nobody liked. We're probably not going to see the Eternals anymore. We're probably not going to see characters like Ironheart anymore. We're probably not going to see She-Hulk anymore. We're probably not going to see any of those shows. Now, I liked all of those things, and those things I'm going to make a video about them specifically because I have a lot to say about how the MCU treated those shows and the lost potential we had with those shows. We're going to get the Fantastic Four in Wakanda with no She-Hulk. That could have been amazing. We could have gotten She-Hulk in the Fantastic Four. All in all, that's all I had to say about the MCU and these trailers for right now. I still have a few videos on to make on the MCU, and then I have more videos on to make on the DCU, which I think right now is piquing my interest way more than the MCU is.